The Krillian Empire had conquered 17 galaxies. Their war fleets had reduced entire civilizations to ash. Their warriors were bred for combat, their technology millennia ahead of most species they encountered. Yet, in the sterile conference room of their flagship Dominion, the High Commander Zarthok trembled as he watched the holographic display. Earth, that cursed blue marble hanging in space like a jewel. Beautiful, inviting, and absolutely lethal. "Show them the recordings again," Zarthok commanded. His three eyes fixed on the two humans sitting across the table. They called themselves Jessica and Jack, representatives of the United Earth Defense Council. Jessica leaned back in her chair, her dark eyes calm and assessing. She wore a simple military uniform, no weapons visible, yet every Krillian guard in the room kept their plasma rifles trained on her. Beside her, Jack crossed his arms, a slight smile playing at his lips. He looked almost bored. The hologram flickered to life, showing the failed invasion of Earth 20 cycles ago. 50,000 Krillian warships had entered Earth's atmosphere, expecting the usual resistance, primitive aircraft, nuclear weapons perhaps, desperate ground forces. What they got instead was something no military simulation had prepared them for. Humans fought like they were. Insane. The recording showed a Krillian platoon landing in a city they later learned was called New York. The soldiers had advanced confidently, their shields activated, plasma cannons charged. Then the humans came. They didn't retreat. They didn't surrender. They attacked. A woman with a kitchen knife had thrown herself at a Krillian warrior 3 times her size. She died, but not before driving the blade through a gap in his armor. A man with nothing but a metal pipe had charged a hover tank, screaming something about his children. An elderly human had detonated his own vehicle in a suicide attack that took out an entire squad. But it wasn't just the violence. It was the strategy. The humans had lured Krillian forces into urban environments, turned their own cities into death traps. Buildings collapsed on command. Underground tunnels, something called a subway system, became ambush points. The humans knew every corner, every shadow, every weakness in their own infrastructure, and they exploited it ruthlessly. "Your casualties?" Jessica asked, her voice cutting through Zarthok's memories. 37% in the first day, Zarthok admitted, his voice hollow. By the 3rd day, we had lost half our invasion force. By the 7th, he trailed off. By the 7th, you ran. Jack finished, his smile widening. Zarthok's mandibles clicked in agitation. "We made a tactical retreat. Your species, you don't fight like civilized beings. You fight like we have everything to lose?" Jessica interrupted. She stood, and despite being half the height of the nearest Krillian guard, something in her presence made them step back. "Commander, you've conquered species across galaxies. You know what they all had in common?" She walked to the viewport, looking out at Earth in the distance. They evolved on peaceful worlds, or they became peaceful after achieving technology. They had time to develop philosophy, art, culture. They saw war as an unfortunate necessity, something to be avoided. Jack joined her at the window. "Humans are different. We evolved on a death world, Commander. Everything on Earth is trying to kill everything else. Our bacteria, our viruses, our plants, our animals, even our weather wants us dead. We've been fighting for survival since the moment our species drew its first breath. We don't just understand war," Jessica continued. "We perfected it. Against each other. For thousands of years, we've committed atrocities your species can't even imagine. We've developed weapons so terrible, we banned ourselves from using them, and then we made worse ones." Zarthok felt his blood chill. "Why are you telling me this?" Jessica turned, and her smile was predatory. "Because you came here today to threaten us, to tell us the Krillian Empire demands our submission or you'll return with a larger fleet." Zarthok started. "Don't," Jack said softly. "Don't insult our intelligence. We intercepted your communications. We know you've been building a second invasion force for 15 years. We know about the planet-killer weapon you're developing specifically for Earth." The Krillian commander's 3 eyes widened. That was impossible. Their encryptions were, "Nothing is encrypted from us," Jessica said, as if reading his thoughts. "Commander, here's what terrifies you about humans. It's not our violence. It's not our tactical adaptability. It's not even our refusal to surrender." She walked back to the table and placed both hands on it. Leaning forward, It's that we learn fast. 20 years ago, you showed us your technology, your weapons, your tactics. We studied every piece of wreckage, every captured soldier, every scrap of data. And we didn't just copy it. We improved it. Right now, orbiting this very ship, are 17 Earth vessels with technology you won't develop for another century. Jack pulled out a small device. This is a quantum disruptor based on your shield technology. Except ours can penetrate Krillian armor at a molecular level. Would you like a demonstration? Zarthok stumbled backward. This is impossible. You couldn't have. We did, Jessica said simply. And that's why you'll never invade Earth again. Because every time you attack us, we become stronger. Every weapon you use against us becomes ours. Every strategy you employ, we counter and improve. You've dominated Galaxies by being superior to everyone you meet. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow echoed through the entire room. But you can't dominate humans, Commander. Because we're the one species in this universe that becomes more dangerous the more you fight us. We thrive in chaos. We excel in adversity, and we never ever stop learning how to kill what threatens us. Jack placed the device on the table. Take this to your Emperor. Tell him it's a gift. Tell him it represents what we learned from just one failed invasion. Then ask him what we'll learn if he tries again. The two humans walked toward the exit. Jessica paused at the door. Oh, and Commander, Earth isn't asking to join your empire. We're telling you to stay away from our galaxy. Spread the word to every species you've conquered. Humanity doesn't surrender. We don't submit. And we don't forgive. As the door closed behind them, Zarthok collapsed into his chair. His hands shook as he stared at the quantum disruptor on the table. Around him, his guards, warriors who had never known fear, stood frozen. They had dominated galaxies. They had crushed civilizations. They were the apex predators of the known universe. But they had met their match in a species that had been apex predators long before they ever left their violent, beautiful, terrifying world. Earth would never fall, and that thought would haunt the Krillian Empire for generations to come.